You won't believe what happened to me yesterday. It was a regular Tuesday, or at least that's what I thought. I walked into the kitchen after a long day, only to find a pile of letters waiting for me on the table. Bank statements, creditor notices, and even the IRS each, one with a chilling reminder, 50, 0 in debt. But here's the kicker. No one in my family told me about it. They kept it hidden from me. All the late nights, the stress, the arguments, and they never once said a word. I was left to find out the hard way. And it wasn't just about money. It was betrayal. The people closest to Memi family, the ones who should have had my back turned their backs without a second thought. I was alone. No explanations. No apologies. Just the weight of this crushing debt sitting on my shoulders. But then, everything changed. I made a decision that would either break me or set me free. I took what was left of my savings and made a move most would call insane. I threw everything I had left into an investment, and guess what? That 50-0 debt? I turned it into 5 million. You think this is a fairy tale? Trust me, it's not. It was a decision that could have destroyed me, but it didn't. It changed everything. The real question is, what would you have done in my shoes? Would you have taken that leap of faith, or would you have let everything slip away? If you've ever felt betrayed, trapped, or alone, drop a 1 in the comments because I know you're not alone. I've been there. Have you ever had to make a decision that could change everything, even when you felt like you had nothing left to lose? If yes, hit like and share your story. Let's start a conversation. And if you believe, just like I do, that sometimes the only way out is to take a massive leap of faith, hit that subscribe button. Join me on this journey, because there's power in taking control of your story. The weight of everything hit me the moment I walked into the kitchen. The bills were piled high, each one with a reminder of how far Jack and I had fallen. 50, 0 in debt. No one had said a word to me. Jack, my husband, who was supposed to be my partner in everything, hadn't bothered to include me in the decisions. I felt a chill sweep through me as I read the letters. It wasn't just the money. It was the silence, the betrayal. Jack, I said, my voice trembling, why didn't you tell me? He barely looked up from his phone. I got it handled, Mabel, he mumbled. It was as if I didn't even exist in the equation. His nonchalant response only made the hurt deepen. I stood there, stunned, as the weight of the situation crashed over me. How could he be so calm? How could he have kept something so massive from me? It wasn't the first time I'd felt this way. Over the past few months, I'd noticed the distance between us growing. He'd become more withdrawn, barely sharing anything with me. When I'd ask about money or the bills, he'd brush it off, or worse, snap at me. I'm working on it, he'd say, but I had no idea what it even was. And then there was Sarah, my best friend. For months, she'd been telling me that something wasn't right with Jack. I'd laughed it off, convincing myself she was just being paranoid. But deep down, I knew she was right. The signs had been there all along. I was just too blinded by my trust in Jack to see them. My parents were no better. When I finally sat down with them, I found out that they'd been hiding their own financial mess, relying on Jack to fix it. They hadn't told me either. They didn't trust me with the truth, just like Jack didn't. I felt like a fool. I'd been so caught up in trying to keep everything together, I'd missed the fact that everything was falling apart around me. The weight of it all was suffocating, but instead of crumbling, something inside me shifted. I couldn't let this define me. I wasn't just going to sit back and let everything slip away. I couldn't sit still any longer. The weight of everything, the debt, the lies, the betrayal had been eating away at me for weeks. But today, I couldn't ignore it. I walked into the kitchen, staring at the pile of bills that I had seen 100 times before. But this time, I couldn't just glance over them. I felt a lump form in my throat as I flipped through the papers. And then, I saw it a letter. that didn't belong. A massive loan. And it wasn't anything I knew about. The loan was under both Jack's and my name, but I hadn't heard a word of it. I felt my hands tremble as I read through the details. It wasn't just a simple oversight. This was something Jack had hidden, and it was something that could break us. I could feel the room closing in. My chest tightened with each passing second, and I knew, without a doubt, that this wasn't just about money. It was about trust. The trust I had placed in Jack. The trust he had completely shattered. Without thinking, I stormed into the living room, the letter clutched in my hand. Jack was sitting on the couch, casually scrolling through his phone as if everything was fine. The way he sat there, so calm, made my blood boil. "Jack, what the hell is this?" I threw the letter in front of him, my voice shaking with a mix of anger and betrayal. "Why didn't you tell me about this loan?" Jack didn't even look up. "Mabel, it's nothing. Just relax, okay?" "Relax?" My voice shot up. "How can you tell me to relax when we're drowning in debt? You've been hiding this from me for how long?" He finally put his phone down, but there was no remorse, no guilt, just that cold, detached look that I had come to dread. "I'm handling it, Mabel. It's under control." "Under control?" I repeated, my voice barely holding together. "You think I'm going to sit here while you handle everything behind my back? You've been lying to me, Jack. Hiding everything, our future, my future." There was silence. A heavy, suffocating silence. And then, Jack did something I wasn't expecting. He stood up abruptly, his hands now shaking as he ran them through his hair. For a moment, I thought maybe he would come clean. Maybe he would finally admit the truth. But instead, he took a step toward me. "Mabel?" he said, voice soft but insistent. Please don't do this. I'm trying to protect you from all of this. I didn't want you to worry." "Protect me?" I scoffed, stepping back. "Protect me? By lying to me? By making all these decisions without me?" My pulse raced. My mind was spinning with frustration. "What else are you hiding, Jack? What else don't I know about this mess?" Jack's face shifted, but it wasn't guilt. It wasn't even regret. It was something colder, something darker, a mix of anger and frustration. He looked at me as though he was trying to make me understand, but I saw right through him. "No," I said firmly, my voice cutting through the tension. "I won't stay in the dark anymore. I can't." And then, for the first time, something inside me shifted. Jack reached out to me, his voice desperate. "Mabel, please, don't walk away. We can fix this." But I didn't move. I didn't flinch. I looked him dead in the eye, and for a moment, I saw the truth in his eyes. There was nothing left to fix. This was bigger than a loan. It was about us. And there was no fixing that. Without saying another word, I turned around and walked out. The door slammed shut behind me, but the sound of it was oddly freeing. I stepped into the cold night, my chest heaving, but my mind clear for the first time in what felt like forever. I wasn't just walking away from Jack, I was walking away from everything I had been pretending to hold on to. I didn't know what I was going to do next. I didn't know where I was going, but I did know one thing. I wasn't going to let this man or this situation destroy me. I wasn't just leaving Jack. I was leaving the life that was suffocating me. And whatever happened next, I would be in control. It had been a week since I left. Every day was a battle with my self-anger, confusion, and betrayal swirling in my mind. I couldn't escape it, not even when I tried. But then I got a call from Sarah. Her voice was shaky, almost too quiet. "Mabel," she whispered, "I found something. You need to know." I was already on edge. "What is it, Sarah?" She hesitated. "It's about Jack and your father." My stomach dropped. "What about them?" "Your father's been hiding it from you," Sarah said, voice trembling. "The loans, the debt, it's all connected. Jack wasn't the one who started this. Your dad's been in on it. I froze. What are you talking about? How? I found the papers. It's all there. Your father and Jack, they set you up, Mabel. They lied to you. Both of them. I didn't wait for her to finish. I grabbed my coat and ran to my father's house, the weight of her words crushing me with every step. When I got there, he was standing in the doorway, looking at me like he'd been expecting this moment. "What is this, Dad?" I asked, voice shaking. "Tell me everything." He stepped aside, letting me into the house, his face pale. On the kitchen counter was a stack of papers. My heart stopped as I glanced at the loan documents in front of me, loans I had no idea about, with my name on them. My father had been hiding it all along, using my name to secure loans without telling me. But that wasn't the worst part. As I turned to leave, I saw it. A letter. A letter from Jack. The handwriting was unmistakable. I read it aloud, my voice breaking. If she finds out, it's over. We can't risk her getting involved. My body went cold. Jack had been plotting this with my father all along. I stood there, numb, unable to speak. I had been nothing but a pawn in their game. The people I trusted most in the world had betrayed me completely. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I turned to my father, my voice trembling. "Why? Why didn't you tell me?" He had no answer. There was nothing left to say. The betrayal was too deep. I walked out, the door slamming behind me. The days after I left felt like a blur. I had thought walking away would bring me relief, but instead, it only left me with an overwhelming emptiness. The apartment felt cold, not just in temperature, but in spirit. I couldn't even bring myself to settle in. Every corner felt unfamiliar. Every piece of furniture felt like a reminder that my entire life had just been upended. I had made the decision to walk away, to stop allowing myself to be buried under the weight of lies. But as the days dragged on, the anger began to mix with a deep sadness. I kept wondering, had I made the right choice? Was it too soon to give up on Jack? On us? The silence in my apartment was deafening. I couldn't stop myself from thinking about him, about them. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Jack's face, but it wasn't the one I loved. It was the man who had lied to me, the man who had kept me in the dark, hiding things I should have known. I hadn't heard from him in days. No texts, no calls. I almost expected it, but that didn't make the emptiness hurt less. The truth hit me harder with every passing hour. I had been betrayed, not only by Jack, but by my own father. My own father. How could they both have been part of this mess? This web of lies. My father, the man who had always told me that family comes first, was no better than the man I had married. It was like I had been living in a house built on a foundation of sand, and now the entire thing had collapsed. The betrayal didn't just cut deep, it left a wound that refused to heal. The more I thought about it, the angrier I became. They both had taken so much from me, but the worst part wasn't just the money. It was the trust they had stolen, the trust I had freely given them both, without question, without hesitation. And now, all of it was shattered. I couldn't look at my phone. I couldn't bring myself to check for messages, to see if Jack was trying to reach me. I didn't want to hear the excuses. I didn't want to hear how he was sorry, how he was going to fix it. There was no fixing it. There was no going back. I had been made a fool, and the worst part was I had let it happen. But even with all the anger, the hurt, and the confusion, there was a part of me that still wondered if I had made the right choice. Was I wrong to walk away? Was there still a chance? Would things have been different if I'd stayed? If I'd tried harder? No. That's when I knew. I couldn't keep living like this, questioning myself. I couldn't keep wondering if I had missed a chance at redemption. The truth was clear now. I wasn't just walking away from Jack. I was walking away from the person I had become when I had kept tolerating the lies. The hardest part was that I knew I would never get those years back. I would never get back the trust I had given them, the belief that they would always have my back. I would never get back the pieces of myself I had lost in the process of trying to make things work. But what hurt even more was that I had allowed them to keep me in the dark for so long. I had let myself be trapped. But in this silence, this painful solitude, I realized something. No matter how broken I felt, I was still here, and I could rebuild. I would rebuild. I wasn't going to stay stuck in the past, in their lies, in their betrayal. After sharing my story, Reddit exploded with responses. Some people were supportive, others critical. It was overwhelming, yet oddly comforting to see that I wasn't alone in my pain. You did the right thing. No one deserves that kind of betrayal. Walking away was the only option. I'm proud of you for choosing yourself. You're stronger than you think. But not everyone agreed. I get that you were hurt, but didn't you act too quickly? Maybe you should have tried talking to Jack before throwing everything away. Communication is key. That made me question myself. Maybe I was too hasty? Was there a chance I could have fixed things? But then another comment read, "Oh, sure, just walk away from everything without looking back. Who needs closure when you can just bail and pretend you've got it all figured out?" Yet, some encouraged me further. You're a legend for this. Walking away from betrayal takes guts. You're not a victim anymore. You're taking control of your life. However, another perspective made me pause. Are you running towards a better future, or just running from your pain? You can't outrun your emotions forever. Healing takes more than leaving. The comments were mixed, but they made me see things from a new perspective. Maybe walking away wasn't just about Jack, it was about me healing, understanding the hurt, and learning from it. Now that I've made my decision, I can't help but wonder, was it the right one? Walking away from everything I thought I knew, from the man I loved and from my own father. It felt like the only way, but the pain doesn't go away just because I've left. The question still lingers. Was it the right thing to do? If you were in my shoes, what would you have done? Would you have stayed and tried to fix things? Or would you have walked away like I did, no matter how much it hurt? Is leaving really the answer? Or just an escape from the mess and pain? But there's one thing that keeps haunting me. Can I ever forgive them? Can I find it in my heart to forgive Jack or my father for everything they did? Is forgiveness even possible when the betrayal runs this deep? Or is it something that, no matter how hard I try, I'll never be able to give them? And what comes next for me? What happens after the storm has passed, and I'm left standing on the other side of it all? What would you do next if you were me? After everything I've lost, do I keep moving forward, rebuilding my life from scratch? Or do I hold on to the past and try to make peace with it? Think about it when you're faced with betrayal. Can you really ever heal fully? Does walking away help? Or does healing come from something deeper inside? I want to know, what would you do in my situation? Would you forgive? Or would you walk away? And if you walked away, what would your next step be? Please, share your thoughts with me. I really want to hear what you think. Drop a comment below, and let's talk about it. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button, share it with someone who might need it, and don't forget to subscribe. Your support means everything to me, and I'm grateful for each one of you.